There's an apartment in Ankara. Most people don't know it, but those who do never say its name out loud. Apartment number 129. Some call it the haunted one. Others say it's cursed. I first found it on a rental site. The apartment was empty. The location was perfect. And the rent? Strangely low. I assumed something basic was wrong, maybe humidity or noisy neighbors. I called the landlord. He was an old man. As soon as he picked up, the first thing he said was, "The place is good, but don't stay alone, son. If you hear footsteps upstairs, lock your door. Don't answer." It gave me chills, but I laughed it off, just superstition, I thought. I signed the lease. That's when my nights at apartment 129 began. The first week was normal, but in the second week, I began hearing footsteps at night from above. Slow, heavy, consistent. But I was on the top floor. Above me was nothing but the roof. The first night I said, "It's the wind." Second night, maybe a cat. But by the third night, at exactly 3:10 a.m., someone was walking up there. I asked around. Most neighbors ignored me, except for an old lady on the second floor. She pulled me aside and whispered, "You think you're alone up there, but no one's ever alone in that apartment." I started researching, and I found a news article from 2009. Two female students from Mayu found dead in apartment 129. The room had candles, burned symbols, scattered pages. Residents said the building shook that night. Windows exploded. The power went out. No one answered the door. Police broke in the next morning. Inside were the two girls lying face up on the floor. Their eyes wide open, completely white, their mouths frozen mid-sentence, no wounds, no drugs, no signs of struggle. The autopsy ruled it unexplained cause of death. And carved above them on the wall, "Once the door opens, it never closes again." After that night, the apartment was sealed, but over the years, a few broke in out of curiosity. Some went missing, some went mad, but no one ever stayed long. By the time I learned all this, it was too late. I was already living there. Still, something inside me said, see it through, record it, capture what's really going on. So one night, I placed a voice recorder, set up my phone camera, and waited. 3:12 a.m., the power went out. My phone had 60% battery, but the screen went black and the footsteps came back. This time, they weren't moving, they were waiting, right above me. Then I heard whispers, clear, cold, close. There were two, but the one who called me was me. You called me too. I couldn't move. I just clutched the recorder and listened. The next morning, I woke up in a hospital. The police said they found the door wide open. I was unconscious, lying on the floor. My phone had a 17-minute audio file, no visuals, just high-pitched static and whispers in between. The apartment was sealed again, but I still wake up at 3:17 a.m. some nights. Sometimes in my dreams, I hear the same sentence. Once the door opens, it never closes again. The second horror story. The apartment was old but cheap. When I asked the landlord, he just shrugged. "It's been empty for a while," he said. I didn't think much of it. In a city like Istanbul, finding a place this cheap was almost impossible. When I moved in, the place was covered in dust. It was clear that no one had lived here for a long time. The air was heavy, thick, but nothing a little cleaning couldn't fix. The only weird thing was the mirror in the bedroom. A massive full-length mirror with an old, rusted frame. The glass was slightly cloudy. It looked normal enough, but the closer I got, the more uneasy I felt. I decided to move it. It wouldn't budge. It wasn't nailed to the wall. There were no screws, no brackets. Yet, it wouldn't move an inch. It felt attached. I shrugged it off. It's just an old mirror. That night, I went to bed. That was the first night. Night one, I was drifting off to sleep when I heard something. A whisper. So soft, I wasn't sure if it was real, but it sounded like my name. I held my breath, listened. Nothing. I told myself it was just my imagination and forced myself to sleep. Night before turning off the lights, I glanced at the mirror. For a split second, I saw something strange. My reflection was delayed, just by a fraction of a second. I blinked. It blinked too, but a beat too late. I felt a chill creep up my spine, but I was exhausted. I'm just tired, I told myself. It's nothing. That night, as I lay in bed, I heard it again. The whisper, clearer this time. This time. My name. I froze. Then I saw it. Movement. From the mirror. My body tensed. But when I focused, I only saw myself. I sat up, staring. The reflection looked normal. I took a deep breath and reached for the light switch. And right before I turned it on, my reflection smiled. But I 3:12 a.m. I woke up. Something in my gut screamed, "Don't look at the mirror," but I did. And I saw it. My heart stopped. My reflection was sitting up, staring at me. But I was lying down. I hadn't moved. It had. Its head tilted slightly to the side, watching me. Then it smiled, but I didn't. A slow, creeping grin that didn't belong on my face. My blood turned ice cold. I could barely breathe. Then it moved. It stood up, but I hadn't moved. I was frozen in bed. But my reflection was no longer a reflection. It was moving on its own. Then I heard the whisper again. "You are not my reflection, I am yours." And the lights went out. Darkness swallowed the room, but I could hear breathing. Not mine. Someone was in the room with me, and then I felt warm breath on my neck. A shiver ran down my spine. The mirror suddenly rattled violently. A sharp screeching sound filled the room like nails scratching against glass. I turned my head slowly, and in the mirror, I saw myself, but it wasn't me. It was still moving. And then it stepped out. First a hand, then a face, then all of it. It was out, and now it was standing where I should have been. I tried to scream. Everything went black. Morning. I woke up in a hospital bed. 2 police officers stood by my side. They told me they had found my apartment, door wide open. I was lying unconscious on the floor. I swallowed hard. "What about the mirror?" One of the officers frowned. "What mirror?" I felt my stomach drop. There was no mirror in the room. I shook my head. "That's impossible. It was bolted to the wall. It wouldn't move." The officer shifted uncomfortably. "Nothing was missing," he said, "but the reflections in the windows were strange." They never let me see the security footage, but ever since that night, I avoid mirrors, because sometimes when I walk past one, I see my reflection, and sometimes it blinks at me, but I don't blink.